So guys, this is something I've been pondering for a few weeks now, just because stuff's been coming up on my social media feed, and it made me think about it. I think you can have lineage without accuracy, but you can't have accuracy without lineage. Let me explain. Hi, I'm Rob from Arts Prop Masters, and we make replica props. And I am personally only really interested in lineage and accuracy to make the perfect replica. So to understand lineage and accuracy and all that good stuff, let's break it down in this video. So the origins of a replica are very important, and this is the lineage part. Now the lineage can be strong, but it can also be weak. So how do we know if it's a strong or a weak lineage? Well, this is the order of lineage. So original molds. This is obviously like the ground zero. The molds are made, the pieces were made for the production. Off of those molds, this is the strongest lineage. This is the best you can get. This is basically perfection. It's never going to get better than this. It's impossible, because this is the start of the line. But let's also caveat that with, in most cases, this is never going to happen. The next on our list is taking a mold directly from a production made or screen used piece. So a production made piece is, as the name suggests, something that was made for the production, but for one reason or another wasn't used on the production. We didn't see screen time. So this could be for a number of reasons. It wasn't finished, like it wasn't painted, and it just didn't get used. Now these are the things that are a blessing to us, because these are the things that the big time collectors don't snap up. Because they're unfinished and they don't look quite as they were on screen. But nevertheless, they are production made, and the form is absolutely perfect for us to be able to create molds to make our replica. So after a production made piece, occasionally the opportunity arises that a production made mold becomes available. Now this is a mold that was made from a production made piece at the time of production, sometimes referred to as safety molds, but sometimes they're made by prop guys working on another production that have access to that good stuff. Shh, you didn't hear that from me. Then we've got the 3D scan, relatively new player in the replica prop lineage world. But this does have its limitations. And that's about it. Lineage is all about a direct line from the original to the replica, in this case, our replica props. And we are looking for the least amount of generations between that original piece and our replica. The lower the generations, the closer to the original piece, the stronger the lineage is. So the problem for me with lineage is when you take an original piece and you break the line or bend it or deviate from that line so much that it's a completely different piece. Now this is all to do with how the replica is made from the lineage piece, how those molds are created to make your replica. Molds are very simple in theory. You take a positive, that's your master, that's usually your original production made piece, and you make a negative, and then you make your positives, which are your replica, from your negative. That's how molds work. There are a lot of things to consider when you're making your mold, but I'm simplifying things just to make it easy to understand. So is this lineage? If your master was lineage, if your master was from a production made piece, then this is lineage. We can see the direct line between your replica and the original piece, and that is pure lineage. But some parts require moulds making in a different way. Boba Fett helmet is quite a good example. I'm guessing this is how most people imagine how a mould is made. You're concerned about the outer surface, you put your moulding properties on the outside, you take it off, you put whatever you're making the mould of on the inside, and you take that off and hey presto, you've got one of these. Much like a jelly or ice cubes, that kind of thing. In a nutshell, that's how we would do this. We would make a mould of the outer surface, and then we would put whatever we want on the inside, which, to be accurate, is going to be fiberglass. But now let's introduce vac forming into the equation. So let's look at the problems with making a vac form mould from the outside of a piece. The detail and the shapes are severely compromised when you make a mould of the outside of the helmet. If we were to make a mould of the outside of this, it's clearly not going to look like this. You can see how soft this is from the plastic being draped on the outside compared to the inside of this piece, which matches this precisely. So I'll trim this out and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here we've got the face, obviously, of the Biker Scout, and the moulding is going on the inside of this piece. Okay, so if we take a mould of the outside of this piece, we need to reverse engineer it back to this, and that involves a lot of sanding and, well, to me it's impossible. It's a nonsense, because we know that the plastic is about 2mm thick, but that will be on the top part, the piece that's contacting this, and then the plastic is stretched as the vacuum process does its job. It pulls the plastic down, so we'll have areas around here which are almost the thickness of the original piece of plastic, but then towards the bottom here it's going to go thinner. So it's not just a case of removing 2mm from the entire surface. And that's why I think it's pretty impossible. You're not going to be able to retain these details while you're trying to remove, by guessing, 2mm or less than 2mm or 1mm. As you can see, this edge is a lot thinner than this on the prop. And that's because you've got the thicknesses of the plastic working on this. And this becomes an even bigger problem when you've got more detail to it, because it is changing the height, the depth, the width. It's changing everything about that. It's just impossible. So if we were to make a negative of the outside of this, the amount of work with sanding that we'd need to do to get it back down to this size is, it's never going to happen in reality, is it? It's guesswork at best. Every moment that we're touching sandpaper on this, to my mind, we're removing lineage. It's a complete fallacy. The only way to achieve this is by taking your mould from the inside. If we were to take a mould of this from the inside, then we're going to get a very good representation of this mould. It's not going to be as good as this mould, but it's going to be a very close representation of this mould. And then the next generation would be a vac form pull over our copy of the mould. And that's why it's crucial that the moulds made for vac forming for this process are taken from the inside of the piece. It's just an impossibility to be able to get an accurate representation of this from the outside of this. For me, accuracy is about recreating the pieces as they were originally created. So if it's fiberglass, you recreate it in fiberglass. If it was vac forming, you recreate it in vac forming. Because it's not just how the piece looks, it's how the piece moves, how it behaves, how it flexes, or maybe how it doesn't flex. That's all key to the replica being correct. The weight of it, picking it up. It doesn't weigh anything, or it does weigh something. It's got to be right. That is key to accuracy. For me, these details matter in equal amounts to how the piece actually looks. So, creating a replica is going to take so much more time than you even realise. There's not just the making and finishing of the replica itself. There's the research, the development, the mould making, all of these things that need to go into the project for you to get that end result. And it just seems crazy to me that people will go to these lengths knowing that the end result is always going to be flawed, because the starting point was never going to realise what the original piece was. It's never going to have that authenticity. It's never going to have that accuracy. Collectors have evolved and they're embracing the wonkiness and the asymmetry and the misshapen beauty of the original pieces, and bravo to that. Let's have more of it. That's what it's all about for me. That is my interest. So I don't like it when I see these kind of misleading claims made against something. And I don't often talk about other people. We talk about what we do, and I don't want to talk about individuals or other makers in particular. I just want to bring an awareness about accuracy and lineage and how you can have one without the other. So there you go, guys. I think you can have lineage without accuracy, but you can't have accuracy without lineage. These are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below. Get involved. And we're a community. That's what this is all about. Hopefully some of this is not new to you. But if this is new to you and you've not thought about it and you have no idea how moulds are made, which I quite understand, because if you're not, that was part of the motivation for doing this. If you're not part of the mould making kind of world, then you're not going to know how a mould is made. And when someone labels something lineage without explaining where the moulds come from and whether the moulds are the inside or the outside, it is going to deceive you. I can't put it any other way. I think it is deceiving. So there you go. If you're unsure, ask your maker, because they will only be too proud to tell you that their moulds are from the outside surface, the inside surface, if that is indeed where they are from. Because they will be proud of it, as we are very proud of where our moulds are from. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. That is it. Bit of a different one this week. Bit off on a tangent, but it's just something that's been it's just something I've been needing to get off my chest, I think. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below, get involved. Let me know your thoughts on this subject.